Before I start this review, I'm just gonna say that I'm not a shipper in Victorious. I don't watch all the episodes involving Beck and Jade. I have only watched one season of Victorious, season 2, and partially season 3 and season 4. I haven't watched all the episodes. So if you are really upset that I didn't review an episode involving Jade and Beck or something that shippers want to see, then I'm sorry. This is basically the only thing I can find when it comes to this month. Half month, or whatever you talk about it. This episode begins when Danny completely comes into Tori's score because he completely switched scores or something. And Danny is Tori's old girlfriend. Well, they completely break up. And then out of nowhere, Kat is Danny's girlfriend. Yeah, that's completely out of nowhere, which really makes this episode pretty unique. I'll talk about how this episode is kind of unique and how Victorious tries its best to be very good, but at the same time, very bad. Let's get the subplot over with. Trina bought some poker fish from a guy in a van, and she uses them to bite the stuff off of her feet, which makes her feet completely smooth. And this continues until all the characters does the exact same thing what Trina's doing. I really got nothing else to say, but it's not terrible. I think the reason why Trina does this is that she wants to have her body completely smooth and completely handsome. But that's basically it. There's nothing bad in this episode, and what they deserve at the end of the episode is just a misunderstanding because they didn't know that the pokerfish is completely toxic in bacteria. I really don't blame Trina because she's just doing everything she can to become more popular even though it doesn't work out for her. And by the way, the joke from the final seconds of this episode isn't really that funny. I mean, the smoothing feet, while I do like smoothing, I don't understand why smoothing feet is considered the funny part of this episode. Especially how to wrap it up at the end of this episode. The subplot isn't terrible, but at the same time it isn't good. It's just there to give more characters something to do in this episode. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the main plot. The more of Tori sees Danny and Kat being together, the more she gets jealous. Because she still has feelings for Danny. And after she completely makes a mustard fountain incident that completely sprayed Kat and Danny, she completely ran away. And then when Danny sees her in the hallways, yeah, very bad timing. I mean, if I was in this situation, I would just probably hug Tori. That's pretty much the only thing is to avoid any of these situations. And then when Tori tries to apologize to Kat, Kat does this. Yeah, I understand that in later seasons the characters get maxed out and more serious, but every time I look at the earlier seasons of these shows, the characters look more maxed out in my opinion. Especially that Kat was being serious and has every right to be like this to avoid Tori at any cost. So after Tori completely apologizes to Kat, Kat completely accepts Tori's apology. After she completely punches her on the nose. I'm not kidding. When Tori says, I swear, Kat, I can just say that you should punch me right in the face. And then Kat completely punches her in the face. That's actually kind of funny because Kat doesn't understand that it's just something that people say. That's pretty much the greatest thing I've seen from Victorious when it comes to funny moments. And as for the ending, they completely accept that they're friends again. The only problem I have is that Danny is completely gone afterwards. I mean, after the kiss that he gave to Tori, pretty much never seen ever again in this episode. Maybe he moved back to his old school because he doesn't want to get into this situation ever again. Or probably because Kat is pretty much furious at him, but he doesn't know that, consider that Tori was the one who caused all this. I should probably talk about Tori's jealousy in this episode. You can tell that she's completely regretful and what she did was completely wrong because she still has feelings for Danny. And when she tries to apologize to Kat, it really shows that she can't be mixed up in the head. I mean, some of the episodes I've seen in this show, Tori can be very serious but also completely blind at the same time. What I mean by that, I'll get to Beck's big break in summer vacation because I have a lot to say in that episode. This episode feels like this episode tries to make Tori more of a serious character, but also more of a depth character as well, because of what she did was completely wrong. And I really enjoy everything that what Tori did in this episode. From gaining Kat's trust by apologizing to her and completely trying everything she can to make sure everything works out for Kat and her boyfriend, even though that Dan completely left during the apology of Kat and Tori. Yeah, I really don't understand how this episode works when it comes to Danny. This episode isn't one of my favorites, but it's considered one of the good parts of season 1. I mean, I can understand that my review of the both week episode was pretty bad because I was being too harsh on it. But then again, it's one of my earlier episodes that I was reviewing in my channel. So I really need a lot to understand on how people really love Victorious. But I'll guarantee you when I review Beck's Big Break, I should have reviewed that episode a long time ago instead of the both weeks on. Anyway, this episode gets a 7 out of 10. Not the greatest episode I've seen from the show, but still good nonetheless.